Mayor Wires, I think we're set to go. We have Melissa do a roll call just to confirm a quorum.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and call it to order, and then we'll have her do that. So I'm doing just that, calling this to order. Good afternoon, everyone. If you can do roll call, we'll see if we have a quorum.
Sure. Please indicate if you're present. Mayor Giles. Mayor Weiss.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Gallego.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Tovar.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke. Mayor Peterson. And our chair is here, so it seems like we do have a quorum.
Okay. I do see Mayor Peterson on the phone. I didn't hear him say that he's here, but he is on the line with us. We're good to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. The virtual meeting of the MEG Regional Council Executive Committee is called to order. Welcome our new members, Mayor Les Peterson and Mayor Kevin Harkey. I'd ask everyone when you are finished speaking, if you please remember to mute your phones so we don't get a lot of feedback. Call to the audience. Do we have any audience that needs to speak to the council?
Mr. Chairman, we received no comments for this item or any other item on the agenda.
Perfect. I mean, darn. Okay. Approval of the consent agenda. Committee members may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda prior to the action of the consent agenda. Members of the audience will be provided an opportunity to comment on the consent items if they wish. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Gallego.
How about a second?
A second by Mayor Tovar.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve agenda items 3A through 3C on the consent agenda. Items 3B and C were recommended for approval at the September 16th Management Committee meeting. I have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, can you call roll call for me?
Yes, please indicate how you vote. Mayor Giles. Mayor
Aye.
Weiss. Oh, thank you, Mayor Giles. Mayor Weiss.
Aye.
Mayor Gallego.
Aye.
Mayor Tovar.
Aye.
Mayor Hartke. Mayor Peterson. And Mr. Chair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you.
Would you like to announce the numbers or you want me to do that? I think we're unanimous.
It was unanimous.
Okay, unanimous with no abstaining. Moving on, item number 4. Agenda item 4 is a contract extension for federal government relations assistance. MEG's Nathan Pryor will introduce this item. Nathan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Executive Committee. Yes, so this item is on for requested action today to approve an extension of the Capital Strategies contract for federal government relations assistance for $4,600 a month for up to 6 additional months through March 2021. Mr. Chairman, by way of background, this is the border crossing card issue that we've been working on for some time. Capital Strategies has been very helpful with this effort. In fact, getting legislation introduced late last calendar year, fast forward into this calendar year, and our proposed legislation has been included in the Homeland Security Appropriations Bill on the House side. By way of reminder as well, so this is the effort that would create a pilot program to allow Mexican visitors who have been screened and vetted and have a border crossing card. Those visitors can only travel about as far as Tucson or the Yuma area. This would allow statewide visits for up to 30 days. We had a study done with the University of Arizona showing a $181 million a positive economic impact to the state in the first year. So this is continuing that effort. The Homeland Security bill, probably no surprise, became a bit of a political football. And Steve Block and Jim Colby can go through some of the developments on that front. But overall, this is positive news. This is good news that we are in the Homeland Security bill. Hopefully, with the kind of developments we see forthcoming, we'll be able to get this bill successfully put into law. With that, Mr. Chairman, I will turn it over to Steve Block and Jim Colby.
Thank you. This is Jim. I'm going to go first here and then turn it to Steve. Thank you very much, Nathan, Eric, and members of the executive committee for this opportunity to be with you. Well, Nathan has really said it all very well, given the background of this issue and also exactly where we are today. This is something that's been around for a while, as all of you know, and we've been working on this. And it would be fair for you to ask, why are we making any progress? The answer is yes, we really are. As Nathan has indicated, it is in the appropriation bill for Homeland Security this year. We've never gotten this far. That is a very, very significant step, because it means that if this bill and when this bill gets enacted, it will be enacted eventually. When this bill gets enacted, we should have it in. All we have to do is make sure that the Senate agrees to leaving this provision in conference or includes it when their bill is considered. So we have made substantial progress on this. And we owe a lot to the Arizona delegation that has worked very hard to get this into the legislation. So we're very grateful for where we're at. And we think we've made good progress. Steve, you want to add something about what the next steps are likely to be?
Sure. Thank you, Jim, and Mr. Chairman and members of the executive committee. Thank you. I want to add my thanks as well to all of you for the opportunity to work on this issue and to be before you here today. I just add a couple of quick things. Just one on timing. So there was a tentative agreement reached late last week, prior to the passing of Justice Ginsburg, that Congress would agree to pass a continuing resolution until December 11th, at which time they would take up these appropriations bills, one of which is Homeland Security, which includes our language. We're not sure what happens now in the event because of what happened, but we believe that they will not allow the government to shut down. Neither side sees that as politically advantageous. We think they'll pass at least a CR. The question will be whether the CR passes, whether the budget is extended to next year, whether just until December. Either way, since we're in the base bill of Homeland Security, even if it's a new Congress, so next year, we would anticipate being into the new bill. They'll take up where they left off, even though technically the bill dies with the Congress. This progress will not be for naught, even if we have to go to next year. So I just want to mention that, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions? Anyone? I had done some questions myself. I think 7.5 years ago, when I first became part of MAG and a new mayor, I think we were working on this then. If not, it certainly seemed like it. And I remember discussion in the legislature before I became mayor over 8 years ago. I think that's one thing I hate about Congress. It just seems like nothing ever happens. Or when it does, it seems like the bad stuff all happens all at the same time way too fast. But I'm the one that was bringing up the discussion on where we at on this. Is it moving? Do we need to start looking, other avenues? But not just that. With the monies that we spend, I certainly will support extending this 6 more months. I have no problem with that. I think it's a good idea. But I do think, and I would like the other folks to maybe think about the possibility that maybe we extend this and start looking at how that works, our lobbying effort, not just on this, but on several other issues, monies that come to Arizona or are supposed to be coming to Arizona, transportation, things like that. So there's a lot of other pieces to this. I think that maybe we need to widen this. Maybe we need to go out for an RFP. Not that you guys aren't doing a good job, but if we open it up for lots of other opportunities, in fairness, I think that if the commission or the council decides that they want to do that, certainly something that we should be thinking about. I think we're leaving too many dollars in Washington that should be coming to Arizona.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could, members of the executive committee, MAG in the past has looked at hiring a kind of full-time legislative lobbyist for our federal agenda. We haven't done that in the past. We certainly can have that discussion again. We rely on a lot of our member agencies and their federal outreach lobbyists, consultants in that regard. We also are tied into our national associations and track all the transportation policy things too. Would a bigger presence in Washington be helpful? Probably. And so I think that's something that we might want to talk about at the executive committee, and maybe we can see if that's something we want to pursue in the future.
Any comments? Wow, you guys are going to be easy today. Mr. Colby, any comments? You're on mute, sir.
No, thank you. I think we've explained what we're doing. And again, I don't want to be Pollyannish about this, but I think we're definitely further along than we've ever been in this project. And I think we have better chance of success in the next few months. I couldn't agree more with what Mayor Wires said about Congress not seeming to get anything done. As one that was a part of it for 22 years, I can tell you it was frustrating that it's even worse now, but that's certainly true.
This is Les Peterson, and if I might chime in on those, in my experience, there are some things which are long-term in terms of deriving the benefits. And I think we have to take a long-term and a broader approach. And for us to go in and think we're going to get results in the short term, or yes, we can extend it for 6 months, but I think we should reasonably think about this as a long-term commitment, and the results may not be evident immediately. So I would support the prior comments.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. We need action on this. We need a vote. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I think Mayor Gallego wanted to make a comment.
Okay.
Thank you. If we are going to be looking at federal government presence, it would be good to understand how other peer organizations in other counties have pursued this and how they coordinate, since there are already so many different agencies like Valley Metro that have federal representation, and many, but not all cities do. Would just be good for me to understand how it has worked for other peer organizations, because we definitely don't want ever conflicting voices, and how we would all coordinate to be going in the same direction.
Good point. Okay. No other
Mayor
discussion?
Harkey, I'd make a motion.
Go ahead, sir.
I move that we approve item number 4, contract extension for federal government relations assistance.
I'll second that. It's Ken Weiss.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second, and that's to extend Capital Strategies contract for federal government relations assistance for $4,600 a month for up to 6 additional months through March of 2021. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Can you take a vote, please?
Yes, please indicate how you vote. Mayor Giles,
Aye.
Mayor Weiss,
Aye.
Mayor Gallego,
Aye.
Mayor Tovar,
Aye.
Mayor Harkey,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson,
Yes.
and Chair Wires. How do you
Vote
vote?
aye.
Thank you. That is not unanimous.
Okay, you've heard the results. Unanimous vote. We'll move on to item number.
Thank you very much for the chance to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is number 5, draft MAG policy principles. Nathan, you're up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the executive committee. We've been doing MAG policy principles now for 3 years. And this is a document, a set of approved principles that range from some are very more specific legislative positions, and others are more broad in terms of MAG's roles and responsibilities. There's a benefit to doing this. We've come at about this time of year in the past. It's very helpful, I think, on a number of fronts for member agencies to be reminded of what MAG works on. Again, roles, responsibilities, and specific legislative issues. It's also helpful in our conversations with congressional members and staff, similarly with state legislature and their staff, It's a good leave behind document, very helpful. Also during the course of a given year, if an issue does arise kind of on the fly, if you will, having an approved set of policy principles allows us to react in a timely manner. So it's very helpful to have those. This year's iteration of the proposed draft policy principles is largely the same from the prior 2 years. Some additional edits and cleaning up of language. I will call attention to 2 of the policy principles. One is regarding enabling legislation for an extension of the half-cent sales tax for transportation. I'm going to come back to that one in a moment. And the other one is under the administrative part of the policy principles, and it's a statement describing prohibitions on discrimination. We've incorporated that this year. This is a new one. It's really born out of Civil Rights Act legislation regarding, again, prohibition on discrimination. So we're putting that statement out there for you, the member agencies, and everyone external, the public to MAG, public from MAG, to know where we stand on these issues. And it's also helpful as well as we work with our own staff to clarify where we stand on issues of discrimination, prohibition of discrimination more specifically. So that's an addition this year. Turning back to the enabling legislation statement, since we've put out this document earlier this month for review to the member agencies, we have been receiving feedback from Maricopa County's government relations staff. We have been working with them to redraft that statement. As currently written in your agenda packet, there was concern that it, upon a cold read, if you're unfamiliar with the development of the regional transportation plan, it might look like we were pushing for a legislation, enabling legislation in the 2021 state legislative session. The county's concerns were valid in terms of trying to capture this moment in time, if you will, that this is an effort that's very much underway and in development and ongoing. So we will continue to work with county staff. Our proposal is to bring back the policy principles to the policy committees in the month of October for additional review, revisions, ultimately recommendation of approval, and approval at regional council in October. During this month, just as a note, we have included this in consent agenda packets, starting with the management committee. Similar will be true for the Transportation Policy Committee on Wednesday, and also this will be in the consent packet for Regional Council. So this month is a time for review for member agencies and providing feedback. If you and or your staff has feedback on any of these, please contact myself, Eric Anderson, Amy St. Peter. We'll be happy to look at those and work on incorporating those into the final round of review heading into the month of October. Additionally, and as to the policy committees I listed for this month, we will also be bringing these to the Economic Development Committee as well for their review. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Questions? Anyone? Okay, one of the things that I've done is I've asked MyInterGov to start working with MAG. One of the concerns that I have, I don't know if all of you are aware or not aware, but for an example, if you bought an $18,000 car, you should expect to pay about $300 a year for registration for a standard gasoline car. An $18,000 alt vehicle pays $7. So if that's in proportion, if it was a $36,000 car, that'd be about $600 and on up. We really need to be paying attention to these electric vehicles. We're leaving a lot of money. And as the newer cars get better and more efficient, we're losing more and more transportation dollars that should be going into our roads. So we've already started that process with MAG, MyInterGov, working with them. But I think it's something that we have to look at. I understand initially the $7 was to entice people to try to buy alternative vehicles for pollution, things like that. I think we're way past that today. More and more people have gone to electric, And again, like I said, we're leaving a lot of money on the table. I think overall, most people, if they knew that the registration was going to be $600 or $800, I don't think that's going to sway their opinion one bit on buying an electric vehicle. So I'd like everybody to kind of think about that, keep that in mind. But there is no action on any of this right now, but it's certainly something to think about. So with that, any other comments from anyone? Seeing none. Okay, we'll move on. Item number 6, COVID-19 update. Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Executive Committee. We want to take this opportunity to just give you a quick update on kind of our efforts, including how we plan to transition back into the office environment at some point in the future when the appropriate health metrics warrant it. We're kind of in a unique situation as an agency because having in-person meetings, for example, generally people come from all over the region. And so we have a much different situation. We have cities, some are still at virtual meetings, some are having in-person meetings with limited attendance. So they're just all over the map. Furthermore, I think some of the health metrics we're watching to see how the reopening of both universities as well as schools might impact those metrics. So at this point, Mr. Chairman, we plan to continue to have virtual meetings through the end of this year. And that's one thing I wanted to make sure that you all are comfortable with that at this point in time. We just don't think there's enough solid evidence out there to kind of return to any kind of normal operations in terms of in-person meetings. The logistics, it requires MAG staff to do some things that perhaps are not comfortable in doing at this point in time. We have surveyed, we've talked to our staff on a regular basis on this. We still have a very, very high level of anxiety among our staff in terms of school, in particular. Those with school-age children are dealing with, some have total online learning, other have, some kids are online, some are in person. And so the anxiety level among our staff, especially those with children in school, is extremely high. And so with that in mind, we think that maintaining kind of the status quo for now is probably the appropriate strategy. But by saying that, I'd like Amy to jump in and talk about kind of, we have a transition plan to move into the office in phases, once again, as the health metrics warrant. So Amy, you want to provide some overview on that?
Great. Thank you very much, Eric, and members of the MAG Executive Committee. Our priority is to keep all staff and stakeholders safe while continuing to provide high quality work in a responsive and timely manner. With this goal in mind, we have developed the transition plan that Eric just referenced in order to maintain a productive and safe work environment. The development of the plan was informed by the Centers for Disease Control as well as by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. The main goal then of the plan is to communicate the responsibilities of the employees and as well as outlining the steps that MAG is taking to address COVID-19. The plan itself includes 5 phases. As Eric mentioned, we are currently in phase 1 with an office closure as staff continue to work very, very hard from home. The other phases gradually reopen the office with increasing numbers of staff as the health metrics indicate a return to the office can be done safely. MAG is implementing very strict protocols to maintain a healthy work environment. This includes closure of the common areas such as break rooms, mandatory mask wearing, providing cleaning supplies and hand sanitizer, and physical distancing. We are fortunate that the vast majority of our work can be done very well from home. When staff do need to visit the office, they are asking for approval for brief visits. These visits are approved based on keeping staff safe who have to be in the office to perform certain aspects of their job, such as IT and fiscal. Aside from these brief visits, we will continue to work from home through the end of December. We welcome any guidance that you might have, and we are eager to continue serving you in the best way possible and appreciate any feedback that you can offer. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Eric, anything else?
That'll do it, Mr. Chairman. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from anyone? Hearing none. Okay, no action involved in this one either. So number 7, are there any requests for future agenda items from our membership? Hearing none. Okay, number 8, any comments or announcements from the membership?
This is Kevin Harkey. I've just wanted to say I'm glad to be part of this, and I apologize for being a couple minutes late.
Not a problem, sir. You get to buy lunch for everybody next time.
You bet.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, if there's no other comments, I want to thank everyone for joining us. And with that, our meeting is now adjourned. Have a good day.
Thank you all.